Welcome to the yesHEis podcast, where we talk about sharing your faith with confidence so that you can play your part in helping the world know Jesus.
Something that we always get asked in our DMs on our Instagram page is, do I really need to use actions and words to spread the gospel? And it's something that a lot of Christians, I think, struggle with. They think, oh, do I really need to tell people that I'm a Christian? Can't they just look at me and know that I am one?
It's the age-old words versus actions kind of debate.
Who said that one time? The old guy. Oh, Francis. Francis of Assisi.
Yeah, no, Francis of Assisi.
Of Assisi.
Not Francis is a sissy.
No, that's correct.
That is incorrect.
What was it? Share the gospel always and, if necessary, use words.
That's right.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a good quote.
It's a good quote. People have been thinking about this for eons.
Sounds like it. We've got a post on our Instagram and it is titled, "People know I'm a Christian, so I don't really need to talk about it." And I think some of us can really get caught up in, do we need to share? Do we need to talk? Do I need to post in my bio that I'm a Christian? Or how do you start those conversations? A lot of Christians wear crosses and they hope that that's enough of a telltale sign that they're a Christian. And, I think we can do a lot of assumptions of thinking, walking through the streets with my cross on around my neck is going to be enough of a trigger for people.
A cross in my bio.
Yeah, a cross in my bio
Scripture
or a
reference.
Scripture, a cross tattoo, all those things.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that people need to know? If they wanted to share the gospel, I guess it's not just visual cues, but it's also words and actions.
Hey guys, it's Tim here. I just wanted to jump in here and encourage you guys to like, subscribe and comment. We are not building a channel, we are building a movement and we really value all the input you guys bring. So let's get back to the episode.
We actually put this on our Instagram stories and we asked a question of our community and we got some great responses from that as well. And one of them I think was really relevant to this is they know you by your fruits, not your symbols. And I think that idea of fruit is so it's a great thought regarding actions versus words, because fruit can come through both actions and words. And so what fruit is on display in your life? What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, it's so interesting. It almost makes me think of learning styles.
Oh yeah.
In school when it's are you a visual learner?
Yeah.
Are you verbal? Do you read books? Do you listen to audio books?
Yeah, what is it, kinesthetic and the other ones? That's the only one I can remember.
There's a bunch of big words to describe all of these.
Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis, I think, is another one. That is an interesting analogy, actually. Because, plants photosynthesize because they're in the presence of the sun.
Great segue.
And so are we expecting
S-U-N.
In S-U-N, that's
Yes.
right. And with the S-O-N in our hearts, are we expecting our non-Christian friends to just start to photosynthesize because we're in their presence?
Preach, Tim.
I don't know. Is that
We
lazy?
get a round of applause from our producer behind the camera. Yeah, we just went real Pentecostal for a second.
I think some people really got into that just now listening, and some people
switched off.
No idea what you're talking about.
If you're listening in the car, you just had to pull over and just have a moment of praise and worship in your car.
And some people are just I hardly knew what I was talking about. Just then.
It sounded profound though.
Yeah, my old science teacher's just you have no idea still.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel but is there a threshold? I think it's good to wear your faith on your sleeve. You've literally done that. You've got a cross tattoo. But putting it in your Instagram bio, posting, reposting your church, posting a, Bible verse, whatever it is. Even telling people that you go to church. I think all of that stuff is super important. To me, I think I've found, and I basically do that pretty, I don't hide the fact that I'm a Christian. I think with some different people, maybe it hits this threshold of I know they know I'm a Christian.
Oh yeah.
And then it's if maybe the momentum doesn't continue. Does it start to get weird?
Yeah. It's it almost becomes a sense of a false sense of security, or not a false sense of security, but a way to be able to be in an environment, people know that you're a Christian, but it's I can in a sense, hide
Yeah.
behind that. Like, I don't want to use that word to shame people at all, but
No.
like, because I feel like I've been in this boat myself, but sometimes it's something that I can hide behind and say, well, they know I'm a Christian. And so,
it's up to them.
I'm just waiting because the
Yeah.
ball's in their court. And so I don't have to do anything else Christian to be able to, get their attention anymore because it's known.
Yeah. Because, I think then it's probably just a good thing to be aware of fundamentally, because then I think if you're aware of that and you are feeling like you're just stagnating a bit or you're being a little bit passive about it, it's maybe just to reflect then and go, okay, well, what maybe are the catalysts to then, going deeper? Like, do I know enough about what they believe?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good way to reopen that conversation. We talk to people all the time in our DMs, and that is just about encouraging people to look for the opportunity to share. And it's not necessarily like, tell them the gospel in 5 steps, but it's more
prepare your souls. I'm about to give a gospel presentation.
It's not that at all, because I think people can see that and be like totally turned away from that kind of conversation.
And it can come across as inauthentic as well.
But if you actually ask somebody like, hey, what are your beliefs? Like, why do you believe that? Or have you ever even thought about what it might mean to know Jesus? Or have you ever been experienced? Like, I don't know, what are your experiences or what makes you believe what you believe? Those kinds of conversations I find a way more, it's a softer way of sharing what you believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think obviously because you and I are on our community team for yesHEis, and so we have that opportunity to be able to have these conversations with a lot of the people in the yesHEis communof And
if you want to send us a DM, we're always willing to reply.
It'll be likely that it's us talking to you. So, but I think you're right. One of the questions that we often get is how do I start that conversation? Like if they know I'm a Christian and I want to take that next step of like what you were saying, how do I start that conversation? And like what you were saying, it's like asking questions is one of the best ways to be able to sort of open that conversation, even just lighthearted questions. Like, tell me about your story. Tell me about, like, why do you do this way? And I think those sort of small questions have a way of opening up the conversation to go a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper at a time.
And people want to know that you care about them. So if you're trying to just shove information, they're going to be like, I don't want it. But if you are genuine in your relationship and you feel God's calling you to love that person and show them his love, those conversations and genuine relationship building is way nicer for that person.
Because you said before it's, did you say it's a soft way of doing it?
Yeah.
Not in terms of it's a weak way, but it's like...
It's not aggressive.
It's not aggressive.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like powerful, right?
Yeah.
Because it gives you context, like the basics of communication. Like if you're a public speaker or if you're a brand, you need to know what problem you're solving for people. Like you need to know the why in terms of where your message fits in their life.
100%.
And so not to reduce it to marketing, but there's basic principles there of like relating to people. And so if you're not finding out about, their context, like what's been their upbringing, have they actually been to church before or not? Yeah. Did they have a good experience or a bad experience?
That's it.
Do they think, where do they think we came from? Have we been created? Are we evolutionary marvels? Like... And just be interested and just be like, okay. Yeah. Because then you can think about those things and just be like, all right, where are the points of need of this person or what are they interested in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we truly believe that the gospel is the answer to every single person, but every person is also unique, then I think it's our job to be able to help. We need to understand this person and then figure out how the gospel solves what they're walking through, that to someone who's searching for truth, Jesus is the truth. For someone who's searching for forgiveness, Jesus is forgiveness. For someone who's searching for friendship, Jesus is our friend. Ultimately, the heart of all of these issues is that we need Jesus because we're sinners, but the reality is that there is so many, it's multifaceted, there's so many layers to that, and Jesus is the answer for every person. But our job in our workplace, in our families, and in our schools, and wherever the context might be, is to be able to have these conversations with people, ask those questions, figure out a little bit about these people, and then understand how is Jesus the answer for this person?
Yeah.
And then go about our conversations in that way. If you're wondering if you'll ever overcome your fear and be bold enough to talk about Jesus, it's time to stop letting fear hold you back. The yesHEis Overcome Your Fear Challenge is here to give you the boldness to share your faith with confidence. In just 5 days, you'll get biblical encouragement and simple steps to help you face your fears head on. No matter where you're at on your journey of sharing your faith, this challenge will help you. Imagine no more overthinking, no more what ifs, just confident, authentic conversations about Jesus. Conversations that change lives. If you're ready to take the first step, join thousands of Christians around the world who've said yes to sharing their faith despite the fear. Click the link in the description and sign up today for the Overcome Your Fear Challenge, because the world needs to know Jesus, and it starts with you.
Yeah. I think for me, when I was a few years ago, I used to work at McDonald's, and a conviction that I felt God put on my heart was to pray each morning as I would go into work and just pray and ask the Holy Spirit to help me to see people the way that He sees them, to love and to just like bring God's love and joy with me into my shift. And I worked there for a lot of years, but a consistent thing that people, my customers and the people that I would work with, the consistent thing that they would always say is like, what's up with you? You're always so happy and joyful and smiley.
Yeah.
Did you just respond to that with, I'm loving it?
It being Jesus.
I should have. I missed opportunity for how many years?
Wow. Think of all the people that could have said yes to Jesus.
Yeah.
You use that.
Dang Tim, where were you?
Ronald McDonald himself might have gotten saved.
Well, I hope so. But what I learned over those years was that, God was obviously, I had this real deep love for the Lord, and it was evident with the people that I worked with. And I felt like the shifts that I worked on, all the staff were always encouraging and being like so happy and excited, and we got the work done. But also when I would work through the drive-through, giving the money and like, hello, what can I get for you? Then I would do
just
the order.
Just to clarify, it's the change from the money that they've already given you, or did you just give people money?
No, I was just dishing.
Because that would have been fantastic.
Well, so I used to have these early morning shifts all the time, and I would just have this joy of the Lord that was with me.
So good.
And I'd always be smiling, giving like, hey, this is your change. I hope you have a lovely day. So much so that customers used to come to me and come through the drive-thru, and they're like, you've been here for years and you're still smiling. Like, what's up? My regulars. And I just used to say, oh, it's the joy of the Lord. Like, I love Him so much and He loves me. And
I love that little seed planted. It's like such a small moment, and it's like the only window you've got in a drive-through.
Yeah,
but
literally.
It's
Literally the
fantastic.
window.
Yeah. Window of opportunity. Drive-through evangelism. I love it.
But yeah, it was consistent for so many years. And I used to think the same thing. Like, oh, people know that I love the Lord and He loves me through this joy. But I had to take a conscious step as well to be aware of who I'm working with, and then invite people to youth or to church or into a relationship. And so it was a challenge for me to not just be like a joyful little worker at McDonald's, but to also take a step out and start inviting people along, because God loves people so much. And if we're just sitting in a niche place where we're just trying to be an example, I think that's good, but we can also challenge ourselves to step out a bit more and, invite people or challenge ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think like one of the community responses we got as well, I love this. They said, I love board games, so naturally I talk about them with people. Loving Jesus is no different. And I thought that was awesome, because it's such a simple illustration where it's like, well, when I know Jesus deeply, then sharing Jesus becomes so much more natural. And that's so clear for you in like, you've got such a deep relationship with Jesus. And, all those years ago when you were working the drive-through, that was coming out of you. It wasn't something that you had to force. It was so natural to you because it was just a natural overflow from that relationship that you had with Jesus. It just came out.
Yeah.
That comment was said so kindly. Like, I love board games, so I naturally talk about them with people. Loving Jesus is no different. But that's brutal. Because like when I think about the things that I just naturally like talk to people about without, it's like that meme, like no one's asking.
Yeah.
It's just like for you, like what's that thing that you always talk about? Like, oh man, that's actually very challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's
like,
like,
so true.
we should have this on our lips. And again, not to be condemning, but just like, hey, it then invites that next question of like, well, how can I be? Like, what are the ways that I could bring it up or talk about it? Or,
for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think if you're listening to this and you're wondering, all right, what's one thing I can take away from this? Maybe a challenge you could take away for this week is what's one simple moment, one simple thing, something you can say this week to be able to help express Jesus and share Jesus wherever you are through words or actions. What is that one thing? And then just take that step of faith and
send it.
Do it.
Do it.
Yeah. Love it.
Nice. And if you have trouble with any of these things, whether it's actions, words, or you want ideas, our DMs are always open. We'd love to talk with you in our Instagram page. And the team.
yesHEis, one word.
And the team and we all just froth. We love seeing what you guys have to share and what your stories are. So if you're sharing the gospel and you're doing amazing at it, we'd love to hear about it. And if you feel like you're not so good at it, we would love to encourage you and give you tips and tricks on how you might be able to take one step further in that evangelism story. So we love you guys and we hope you enjoyed our episode, and we'll see you at the next one.